Monday. I need a nap. I'm tired. What a weekend.
She's going to be a beaut, though, this Monday.
Yeah, today's going to be real
Gorgeous.
nice. Mid-70s with some sunshine, then thunderstorms likely in the morning tomorrow, probably going to taper off by mid-afternoon. So the nap's going to have to wait until I get the lawn done.
Yeah,
that
a couple days of rain, it looks like Tuesday and Wednesday. Maybe.
Needs to get done, that lawn. We'll recap, obviously, the weekend, and we'll get to Scott Robert Shaw in the newsroom for 3 Ways and Bad News, Happy Music. Give me the Monday morning throwback. Take a look back at stuff we did in the past. Talk about Tom Brady's roast. Did you watch any of it?
I watched part of it, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I watched the whole entire thing. Not last night. I actually waited and watched it this morning. I had it on my phone as I was, doing the show this morning, getting ready and all that. So I was able to get caught up on that. Read a couple articles about it. Yada yada yada. So we'll get into that. Also, we'll of course recap the big show that we were at this weekend, Skillet and Seether, along with Fuel in 10 Years and Keith Wallen of Breaking Benjamin. Lots of other stuff. If you need something, you can get in touch with us. Visit rockmornings.com for more info.
More of your Rock Mornings coming up in just a bit.
Rock Mornings with Brian, Gene, and Shaw in the newsroom. Boy, oh boy, what a weekend.
Yeah, lacrosse was kind of busy.
I'm wiped out, dude. I am so tired. We stayed out way past my bedtime on Friday for the Flow Rider show at the Lacrosse Center.
Epic, I'm sure.
Well.
See, you took a shirt off.
We left early. We didn't even see the Flow Rider.
Oh.
Not that they're not. I saw the videos and all that stuff. The Waka guy came out and I couldn't do it. I could not. I was like.
It's like me leaving a movie early.
Yeah, well, we didn't pay for the tickets, thankfully. We got them for free from my guy Jay down at the center. But we got there, I don't know, it was like around 7 o'clock, and they had a DJ, and he's boom, boom, boom. And it's like, okay. We find our seats. We're hanging out. It's boom, boom, boom. And it just kept going and going and going. And I'm like, okay, I got to get up and walk around. I can't just sit here and listen to this. It's crazy, right? So we walk around, we run into a few people we know, and about an hour later, the DJ set comes to an end, and the Waka Flocka guy comes out.
Yep.
And I legitimately, I gave it about 20 minutes. I couldn't understand one word the guy said. Couldn't make out a word. He just, and I'm like,
if you know it, right.
And everybody there knew everybody there that was not me was singing and dancing and doing all the dances, and they all had choreographed moves and everything. Good for them. But this was obviously not my thing. And I said to my wife, I'm like, I don't know how much more of this I can take. I said, I don't know if I care enough about Flo Rida to stick around. So we left and went and got a drink somewhere.
Well, I think a lot of people enjoyed the show because it was packed.
Yeah. Definitely a lot of people there for that. I was there for the whole entire show on Saturday night, however, at Copeland Park, which was Seether, Skillet, Fuel, 10 Years, and Keith Wallen. And boy, oh boy, you couldn't have asked. I mean, obviously, the rain in the morning was difficult to deal with when you're setting up the stage and you're sound checking and all that stuff, and they had to, put all that on timeout. But by the time the show started, it was a little chilly, a little cloudy, but man, oh man, shortly after, the sun came out. It was nothing but blue skies, man. It was beautiful,
You were
right?
in your hoodie.
Oh, it was great. I was in my hoodie and wearing shorts, drinking a beer, and the bands were fantastic, and we ran into a bunch of people we knew, obviously, and yeah, it was a hell of a good time, man, and I thought all the bands did fantastic. I thought they were all great. 10 Years, there was something going on. I don't know if their sound was off. They sounded... It wasn't bad, but it sounded off at the beginning, but then it cleared up and they got really good. And yeah, and Fuel was awesome with the guy from Wilton, Wisconsin, not from Toma. I thought he was from kind of the same area, but yeah, so he was their lead singer, and his family was watching him for the first time. He had his mom and his wife and his kids there watching him perform with the band for the first time ever. So that must have been a really special moment. And then they stuck around. I saw him afterwards. We were kind of hanging out by the side of the stage, and he was there with his family, and they were watching Skillet and Seether up on stage. And yeah, so it was great, man. It was a Skillet show. You got what you expected with Skillet. Same with Seether. I hadn't seen them in a number of years, so it was a good time. And
Good way to kick off the concert series, huh?
Yeah, and there was a lot of people there, and everybody seemed to be having a good time as well. And hopefully everybody gets ready for the next one in August, Shaw, because it's boy, that one's going to be real big. That Bush show in August is going to be nuts. Also, letting people know that September 14th, if you want to put that on your calendar, not going to announce anything yet, but can tell you the date. Saturday, September 14th, if you want to put that on your calendar in terms of the third and final show in the Ultra Rock Summer Concert Series, Shaw. But yeah, and then, of course, yesterday, Cinco de Mayo, and I Cinco de Mayo'd a little bit too much. Yes, I did. So I'm very tired this morning, Shaw.
Was there tequila involved?
No, just beers. Beers, yeah. Patio beers, and yeah, just, I'm tired. I can't. I'm almost 48. I can't do it anymore, man. I can't do these, 3-day weekend things. It's just too much. What'd you do? Did you take it easy, or did you go out? What'd you do?
I took it pretty easy. We put out our Oreo feeder for the season and got our first Oreos. So
nice.
There goes the grape jelly. That was nice. Yeah, I got some yard work done outside yesterday. Took advantage of the nice weather.
Yeah, today is mowing the lawn day, and then afterwards, maybe, hopefully, knock on wood, a nap. We'll see. Mm-hmm. You had prom. I saw pictures. And Derby.
Beautiful, gorgeous young people in their tuxes and their dresses, and I mean hundreds of them.
Yeah.
I'm not lying.
Down at the park taking the pictures.
I was at multiple schools in our area prom. I know there was proms throughout the state. And so, yeah, we did that, and then we watched the Derby, and I didn't bet online because I never did figure it out. I said, screw that, I don't have time to learn. But
your horse won?
But we did have a game at the bar that we were watching it where you got $10 and you drew a horse, so there was 20 people out of the buck, right? And so we had Mystic Dan, so we won $200.
Nice,
very nice.
Well, $180 if you count the investment, but who does that?
Who does that?
$200 for that, so that was fun.
Very cool.
Then lots of yard stuff yesterday. I am sore, so sore, Shaw.
And mint julep, did we do one?
No, I don't like them.
So you did it the one time, and to say you did it, and now you're out.
I'm good. I had an old fashioned.
Okay.
Because I know I like those.
Well, Shaw, I'll probably ask you to carry the load here because now that I've discussed my entire weekend, I'm done. I don't want to talk anymore.
I'm sure you saw the finish of the Derby, though.
Oh, yeah.
That was unbelievable.
Yeah, photo finish.
Ugh.
Yeah. Not the only photo finish this weekend either. We'll get to that in sports, but three-way now with Shaw in the newsroom. What else going on?
Well, students protesting the war in Gaza left their camp at the University of Southern California without major incident after they were surrounded by police and threatened with arrest. In Boston, Northeastern University's commencement ended peacefully at Fenway Park yesterday. Many were watching developments closely at both campuses. Police last month arrested more than 90 people when they first broke up a pro-Palestinian encampment at USC, while police in Boston arrested about 100 protesters at a similar camp at Northeastern. The Associated Press has tallied about 2,500 arrests at 50 college campuses since mid-April. UW-La Crosse has now joined the list of colleges around the country with demonstrations in support of Palestine.
Don't stay silent. Don't stay silent. Don't stay
More than 100 people gathered at the UW-La Crosse Clock Tower on Friday afternoon and then marched through part of the campus. Student organizers designed it to be a peaceful protest against the war in the Mideast. Now that the La Crosse School District has planned a building referendum for the fall election, the school board is looking at ways to inform voters about those plans. At tonight's La Crosse School Board meeting, members are scheduled to talk about community engagement leading up to the November election. The board intends to ask taxpayers to approve a new school building at the old Hogan School site. Students from Emerson and Spence schools would be moved to that new school. The same referendum also would call for a consolidation of State Road and Hinchin schools. Wisconsin's Tammy Baldwin is one of 5 Democrats in the United States Senate whose races for re-election are rated as a toss-up or very close, according to the Democratic Party. A fundraising email from the party quotes the Cook Political Report as identifying 5 senators in close races. Besides Baldwin, the list includes Sherrod Brown, Bob Casey, John Tester, and Jackie Rosen. The email says if Democrats lose any one of those 5 seats, there could be a grave threat to our democracy. That's because the Senate is considered to be split evenly, with Democrats having a slight advantage because Vice President Kamala Harris holds the tie-breaking vote.
Three-way with Shaw in the newsroom. We've got sports coming up in a few minutes. And, of course, Monday Morning Throwback. Lots of other stuff to get to as well. You can find us online at rockmornings.com. We've got Alice in Chains coming up after Sleep Theory.
Rock Mornings. On air, online, on the app.
It is great to be with a bunch of people sitting around talking smack about Tom Brady. Or as we call that in the Manning family, Thanksgiving. One thing that Tom and I definitely have in common, though, is our love of the game of golf. And listen, not to brag, we're both pretty good players. My handicap is a 6.4. while Tom's handicap was blowing leads in the Super Bowl to my brother Eli. The last time Tom Brady had to wait this long to get on stage, it was the 2000 NFL Draft.
Peyton Manning, the final surprise guest from last night's roast of Tom Brady that lasted 3 effing hours on Netflix. You were able to stay up for the whole thing. I watched it this morning on my phone, and it was okay. There, obviously the big takeaways are right out the gate. Jeff Ross, the roast master. So Kevin Hart is the host.
Yes.
He comes out and does a little spiel. There's a video, and then Jeff Ross comes out, and Jeff Ross is like, they basically said he was, coming from hell, and it was Jeff Ross in an OJ jersey, and it was all bloody, and he's riding on like a pedestal, and he's got devil horns and stuff, and then he started to roast Brady, and he made a joke about Kraft getting a massage.
Yes.
Which we remember the story. And Brady, it looked like Brady immediately was not okay with that. He got up and he went over to the podium where Jeff Ross was and said, "Don't say that bleep again." I'm sure Brady had some stipulations like about, look, everything's on the table except for XYZ, probably like my kids, right? Don't mention my kids in terms of negatively, right?
Shouldn't do that.
And, maybe mom and dad, obviously. There was a couple of nothing real particular pointed at his family.
Yeah.
They were kind of on the fringe. But maybe the Kraft thing, he said, and Jeff said, I'm going to go with it anyways. I don't know. But that was pretty funny. I can't remember the gal's name. There was a gal that, Nikki Glazer is her name. She's a comedian. And she had a very funny joke about Brady, of course, was involved with that cryptocurrency thing.
Yeah.
She had a funny joke. She's like, me, Gronk, know that not real money. And I died laughing when I heard that. That was really funny. Yeah, I mean, it was okay. Gronk actually, when he got up there, just, it's funny to laugh at Gronk because he is the big, goofy, stupid football jock player. It's like...
Well, some of it felt like not a roast. It was like, ugh, okay. Like Randy Moss, and it's like, is this the fangirl stuff? I mean, is this just the time to pay tribute to him and not roast him? Because it was a lot of love, man. I
think it's hard because those guys do love him. And also, for it being 3 hours, how many jokes can you make, about the same thing?
Yes.
It was all jokes, the stuff at the beginning about the wife and the jujitsu and the eight classes a day and all that stuff. But then you can't go to that well again. Really.
I didn't think it was going to get any better than Ron Burgundy. So after him and Bill Belichick, I went to bed.
I was kind of surprised that Bill Burr wasn't there. Obviously being a comedian from Boston, and a very famous one. I thought for sure he'd be there. They kept showing Shane Gillis in the crowd, the guy from the Netflix special. Obviously Dana White and Brady are buddies, so he took a couple of shots at Brady.
Man, he doesn't look like a real human, though.
Who, Dana White?
No, Tom Brady.
Yeah, well.
Dude, his reactions and stuff, it's just like...
Well, you just got to sit there and take it,
He just doesn't see his big pearly whites and his lips and his nose. It's like he doesn't look... He looks like AI generated.
Brady's best joke after he got up there, obviously at the end, he gets up there after everybody goes. They had Ben Affleck come out, and they had Peyton Manning, obviously. Belichick, to his credit, was kind of funny. He was all right.
Well, lines written for him, clearly.
Yeah, but his delivery, you don't see that from him. You never get to see that from him. So, but Brady had probably the best joke of the night, I thought, when saying that Kim Kardashian was nervous to be there.
He seemed
not because she was afraid of being on stage, but because she had to leave her kids at home with their dad, a.k.a. Kanye West, and yeah.
I thought his reaction when she was on stage was just horrible. I mean, he just was like...
She got booed. I mean, people booed. People,
he didn't know how to react at all.
We'll obviously continue to recap the Brady roast as we get through the morning.
3.5 hours.
Lots of sportsing going on over the weekend. The Brewers lost 2 games to the Cubbies over the weekend. They beat them on Friday 3-1, but then they lost 6-5 on Saturday, and they lost 5-0 yesterday. The Brewers start a 3-game series against the Royals in Kansas City tonight at 6:40. NBA playoffs yesterday, Cleveland over Orlando, 106-94 in the 7th and final game of that Eastern Conference series. So the Cavs will now move on to face Boston in the next round. Tonight in the NBA, the Pacers are at the Knicks, 6:30 on TNT for Game 1 of that second-round series. And the T-Wolves are at the Nuggets at 9 o'clock on TNT for Game 2 of that series. Minnesota is up 1-0, surprising the Denver Nuggets there on their home court. NHL playoffs yesterday. The Rangers over the Hurricanes 4-3 in Game 1 of that series. And Dallas beating Vegas 2-1. They eliminate the Golden Knights from the playoffs. Dallas moving on to face Colorado in the next round. On the ice tonight, you only got one game. It's Bruins-Panthers. Game 1 of that second-round series is at 7 o'clock on ESPN. 150th Kentucky Derby. Photo finish.
Dude,
3 noses
so
at the wire. Yeah. Mystic Dan, 18-1 shot, edging out Sierra Leone by a nose, with Forever Young, another nose back in third place on Saturday. Sierra Leone, by the way, the most expensive horse in the race at $2.3 million.
It was exciting. It was super, super, super exciting. And you didn't even know who won for a couple minutes. They just kind of walked around and you're like, wasn't it?
Similar finish in NASCAR yesterday, too. Rockmornings.com. Visit the website to listen live online, get all of our contact information, check out the daily podcast as well. We got music from Metallica in a bit.
Rock Mornings with Brian, Gene, and Shaw.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Well, thank you. I know a lot of people make fun of your height. All right. Speaking of Tom and I dating, I know there were some rumors that we were, and I'd never say if we did or not. I just released the tape. But I do know it would never work out. An ex-athlete, high cheekbones, silky hair. You remind me too much of my stepdad now. Part of me thinks you would want to undress me just to try on my clothes. Honestly, it's hard for me to watch people roast you, but I think enough of my family members have helped defend former football players.
Kim Kardashian on the roast of Tom Brady from Netflix last night. Booed mercilessly as she got on stage. People hate that chick. She was the only person who got booed.
I thought that was all very uncomfortable.
The whole thing or just her?
Roasts are generally uncomfortable.
Yeah, but not even uncomfortable in the way where you're like, oh, man, I can't believe it. Kind of just like,
Yeah.
well, that's weird.
But, yeah, everybody taking shots at Brady and then showing mad love. And
Did you watch it, Sean?
I did not see it, no.
Edelman got up there for a little bit. Gronk, Belichick, Ben Affleck showed up. They brought out Peyton Manning towards the end. No Eli. Obviously, Peyton made a reference to his brother, but no Eli. I thought they would get Eli. I also thought Bill Burr might be a part of it. Instead, they got some Sam J or Jay Sam, some other comedian from Boston, who I had no idea who that person was. Nikki Glazer, who I've never seen her comedy, but I've seen her on the roast before.
Hilarious. I thought that was funny.
She was very funny. So yeah, it was okay.
Got a little uncomfortable with the massage joke, apparently.
Yeah, so right off the gate, Jeff Ross, the roast master.
If anybody's going to push make him uncomfortable, it'd be him, right?
Well, if you know the story, so apparently Jeff Ross ran into Brady somewhere years ago, like 3 years ago. And they were talking, and Jeff was the one who sold Brady on the idea of doing the roast. They kind of hatched a plan together. So for him to go out there and maybe touch what Brady had put on the don't touch list was kind of interesting, because Brady got up and said something to him
he said, don't say that
Don't
stuff
say that bleep again.
So Tom became a Patriot, moved up to New England, and on the first day of training camp, that scrawny rookie famously walked into the owner, Robert Kraft's office, and said, "I'm the best decision your organization has ever made." Would you like a massage? I love Robert Kraft. I love that again. Okay. He's having fun. Look at him.
And I didn't think the joke was that bad.
And Robert Kraft was in the audience, apparently.
Yeah, so he was there, and he also stood up and said some things, and obviously, I think it's very tough for a lot of those people to say bad stuff about Brady. Obviously, he's got a weird life.
Yes.
They made fun of Alex Guerrero, but they all love him so much.
Gushy. It was like a little gushy
Well,
show.
a lot of roasts are like that, though. They'll hammer you for a little while, then at the end they wrap it up with some nice comments. But for Brady, it was weird because it was a lot of that. That we love Brady, so they take more shots at everybody else around, and obviously getting Belichick and Kraft to do a shot together on stage was sort of a weird thing. I didn't quite get all that, but yeah, I watched it this morning. It was okay. There were some funny moments, but the funny part for me was that it was right out of the gate, and Brady looked. I thought, oh snap, it's going to end. Like Brady may not make it. It's supposed to be 3 hours long, and right out the gate, he's pissed.
3.5.
Yeah,
long. About
a joke that I didn't think was that bad, But as I told Gene earlier, Shaw, I'm sure that Brady had some things that were on the list of
I'm sure.
unmentionable things. His kids never, the kiss.
Leave the kids out of it.
Well, the kiss on the lips. Remember the Tom Brady thing that was on Facebook or whatever, and he kissed his kid, and everybody freaked out on the internet because he kissed his kid on the lips for like 10 seconds, and his kid's like an 11-year-old, and but that never came up in the roast. They made a mention of his mom being there, but there was no his dad's
after moms or kids.
Well, his dad's kind of a wild card as well. His dad's been known to call into Boston Sports Talk Radio and hammer Belichick and say some things, and kind of the mouthpiece for Brady when Brady doesn't want to say stuff, and so they didn't bring him up. So I'm sure there was stuff on the list that was.
Guessing Giselle was a no-show.
She, as far as I know, she wasn't there. They never showed her. Unlike Bruce Willis, who had Demi Moore at his roast and actually roasted him, I'm sure Giselle wanted nothing to do with it because most of the jokes were at her and Tom's relationship's expense. The stuff about the jiu-jitsu teacher and all that. But it's on Netflix. If you didn't watch it, there's 3 hours of content there, Shaw.
It's a lot.
That is a lot.
A lot. But all in all, it was okay. Without Greg Giraldo, it lacks that punch.
It was okay.
Yeah. Three-way now with Shaw in the newsroom. What else is happening?
It was a pellet gun. Police in Mount Horeb, Wisconsin, say a student who was killed by police outside a middle school last week was carrying a pellet rifle, which he had pointed at officers and refused to drop. That shooting happened on Wednesday. The school went on lockdown for hours, but the boy with the gun, identified only as a 14-year-old student in the district, did not enter the school, and no one else was injured. A Holman woman who's charged in her boyfriend's drug death could enter a negotiated plea next month. Rachel Brockway was scheduled to have a plea and sentencing hearing on Friday, but that plea has now been postponed until June 25th. Brockway faces possible prison time for allegedly providing a fatal dose of drugs taken by the victim a year ago. A medical examiner says the man died after taking a mixture of fentanyl and heroin. The 5th of May has become a yearly date for remembering Indigenous women in La Crosse. A circle of drums took part in ceremonies yesterday in the Burns Park area downtown, where the 5K run walk for missing and murdered Indigenous women was held. The Ho-Chunk Nation and the city's park department are among the sponsors of this awareness event. Spokeswoman Tracy Littlejohn gives credit to local government leaders for increasing their attention to the problem of Indigenous women going missing or being killed.
Between the mayor and the city council who have done the proclamations for today, there's going to be better effort to coordinate better and to be a little bit more alert when there is a missing Indigenous person in the area.
Sponsors say about 6,000 American Indian and Alaskan women and girls were reported missing in 2016, but only about 100 of those cases were being investigated by the Justice Department.
Three-way with Shaw in the newsroom. We'll get back to him in just a bit. Going to be a nice one today. Sunny and 74 in our area.
Oh, man. It was nice yesterday, too. I mean, gorgeous. Got a lot of stuff in the garden and a lot of people out on hikes and biking. And, yeah, it was great.
Rock mornings. Only on 95.7 The Rock.
Poppy will be legendary. Rock mornings with Brian and Gene. Television tonight. You got The Voice. On NBC, top 12 live performances. The 6th season finale of The Neighborhood on CBS, followed by the series finale of Bob Hart's Abishola on CBS. Jeopardy Masters, games 3 and 4 on ABC tonight. Celebrity Wheel of Fortune right after that. 21st season finale of NCIS on CBS as well. So You Think You Can Dance on Fox. Deal or No Deal Island on NBC. And the 3rd season series, the third season finale and series finale, apparently, of NCIS Hawaii tonight on CBS. Late nights, you've got Laura Linney on with Jimmy Fallon, Luke Bryan, Mike Birbiglia, and Incubus on with Jimmy Kimmel. Your guy, Ethan Hawke, along with Cedric the Entertainer, going to be on Stephen Colbert tonight, and John Oliver and Mikey Day on with Seth Meyers.
I watched Unfrosted Friday night.
Oh, the Pop-Tart thing?
Yeah.
And? Did they say if it was a true story or not, or was it sort of like a glorified retelling of the story?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just for comedy purposes. Everybody's in it. It's super packed with stars.
Well, yeah, Seinfeld.
I know. Production, wrote and produced kind of thing behind the whole thing. So he asked friends to come along and play the parts with him. And so there's lots of... it's okay.
Okay. Yeah, the Brady thing was really the only thing that I watched in terms of television this weekend.
It was so beautiful yesterday.
Sports. I mean, watch some sports, but it's funny. I'm at the Seether show, and Seether's on stage, and I've got the Bruins game on Saturday night. Goes to overtime, tied 1-1. Pasternak gets a nice little backhander over the skate of the goalie to win the game. Take game 7, move on to the next round. And I'm screaming blue bloody murder over there, jumping around and hooting, and everybody's looking at me, and I was like, Bruins. Obviously, the show's going on, the band's playing, and everybody's having a good time, but I'm over here like, Bruins.
Rock Mornings, Monday to Friday, 6 to 9.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. That is the Foo Fighters of My Hero, and this guy was a hero for these people. Did you hear about the storm chaser?
Yes, I saw the video. It's crazy.
Right? So we've obviously seen some of the videos. We heard about the kid last week that saved his parents, right? Ran a mile in the dark after his parents' truck got crushed and they had broken backs and necks and all sorts of stuff.
Ran
and this kid
through power lines and trees down
able to get the neighbors, help save his parents. They're in the hospital still, but they should recover.
In the dark, too.
This is a storm chaser in Abilene, Texas, saving a family of 4 live on YouTube last Thursday after a tornado destroyed their house.
And they're injured, too. Their kids are injured.
Yelled for them to jump in his car, also saved their dog. Their son got thrown 25 feet and was pretty banged up, but they're all okay and out of the hospital now.
There's people. Get in! Get in the car! Get in the car!
Please, God, help!
Open the door. Get in.
Please.
Come on, guys. Right here. Get in. Get in.
Wait, get in, baby.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Obviously, the audio doesn't do the video justice, but live video from Freddie McKinney yelling at the family to hurry up, get inside as they run for their lives, begging for him to help. Speeding towards the hospital miles away, Casey and Wes Lambert, along with their 7-year-old son and their 5-year-old daughter, variety of lacerations, bruises, broken bones, but otherwise gonna be okay. House got destroyed by a tornado, and this guy's YouTube live in it, right? Some kind of storm chaser dude sees him.
Well, he's like, there's people, and the kids are both injured. I know this. One of them had a broken hand, and he's on the phone with 911 saying, I just picked up this family. We're on this road, and, I'm racing towards you to this hospital. If you can meet us with an ambulance somewhere, it's remarkable.
The mom, Casey, says, we saw it hit our friend's house, and we went into the closet, sat down, and grabbed hands. What did we do? We prayed. Please keep us safe. Bricks are falling on us. I look up, our house is crashing down.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable. If you haven't seen the video, it's harrowing. Another guy that's a hero. Slept outside of a Popeyes chicken location in England. Camping out for almost a full day so he could get free food for an entire year at Popeyes. But that doesn't make him a hero. Said he plans to give the food to his local homeless shelter instead of eating it all himself.
Popeye's chicken is the shiznit.
The guy wanted to remain anonymous. Spent the night camped out in the parking lot of a newly opening Popeyes Louisiana kitchen location.
Promotions
to win a fast food
restaurants open
year-long supply of chicken. Said he plans to eat it himself here and there, but for the most part, going to donate all the chicken, all the food that he gets from the Popeyes to his local homeless shelter. The first 3 customers apparently in line were able to get free food for a year, and he was one of them. I don't know if you get like one chicken sandwich a day or what that works out to, but going to donate all of his winnings to his homeless shelter.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Awesome.
More from Scott Robert Shaw coming up in just a bit. If you need something, get in touch with us. Visit rockmornings.com.
Rock Mornings with Brian, Gene, and Shaw.
The following is a public service message from this station. Hello. I'm whispering because today is 6 de Mayo. You and your coworkers probably went out last night and tipped the bottle a bit and don't feel so good today. So this station is offering you free 6 de Mayo survival tips. Number 1, drink lots of water. Number 2, avoid sunlight. Number 3, if you still smell like the tequila, avoid your boss. And number 4, listen very carefully to this. Avoid
Loud noises! Avoid loud music! Avoid screaming people! Avoid anything loud!
Those are your 6 de Mayo survival tips. You're welcome. Let's talk again on July 5th.
I didn't even... I guess that was lost in my whole weekend.
Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco, yeah, me too.
May the 4th? Did you May the 4th it?
I made the prom it. It was a prom weekend at our house, so there was a lot of that.
Revenge of the 5th?
And the Derby.
Yeah. A lot of shows. I'm surprised I can still hear.
There's a lot going on in town this weekend. You had the marathon, a half marathon.
Yeah, in the morning on Saturday
5K.
During the rain there, yeah.
Yeah, I think solo and ensemble was going on in lacrosse and Eau Claire.
Graduation.
Yes,
Yeah.
graduation. That's upon us.
I think there was also like an 8 to 1,000 person pub crawl on Saturday downtown.
Oh, it might have been graduation related.
No, it was a pub crawl.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But so yeah, there was a few things happening, so
Yeah.
say the least. As Gene mentioned, Kentucky Derby photo finish right at the end there. Mm-hmm. Gene won some money. Did she tell you? Did she hear?
Yeah, her horse was the big winner.
Yeah. Picked the number out of a bucket, got the right horse. and-
Actually, we were the last people there at the party because we were down at taking pictures for prom. So when we walked in, we were just we gave them cash. They handed us numbers. So there's
no skill involved.
There was zero. Yeah, no luck even. I guess they just handed it to us,
Right.
and we're like, oh,
Here's your number.
Here's your number, and then Mystic Dan was the big winner.
What else going on?
Police in Two Rivers say their search for a missing 3-year-old now includes searches of manholes throughout Manitowoc County. They're looking for 3-year-old Elijah View, who has been missing since February 20th. His mother and her boyfriend are both facing charges in connection with his disappearance. The FBI recently concluded its aerial search. They began in April, but there still has been no sign of the missing boy. An Eau Claire woman is looking at a plea deal in a burglary case where she bashed an elderly man in the head. Megan DeHate entered that guilty plea on Friday. She was originally facing charges of armed burglary and abuse of an elderly person, but that has been pleaded down. Investigators say DeHate was high on something when she broke into an elderly couple's home. They say she smashed the husband in the head with a 20-pound piece of metal, but he was able to wrestle her to the ground.
Gosh.
DeHate is due to be sentenced in August. One person is dead after a rollover crash yesterday morning in Bloomer. The crash happened on Highway 40 when a truck left the road, drove over a driveway, and went airborne. The truck then hit an embankment and a tree before it rolled over. The driver, the only person in the vehicle, died at the scene. That crash remains under investigation. Alcohol is believed to be a factor in a weekend crash in Winona. It happened around 10:30 Saturday night when a car traveling east on Highway 61 went off the road. 62-year-old Ganga Harris was taken to a Winona hospital for non-life-threatening injuries. Many colleges throughout the U.S. have seen protests this spring about the war in the Mideast, with some of them turning violent. But some students at UW La Crosse were determined to take a political stand peacefully on Friday.
Stop funding genocide! Stop funding genocide!
A rally in March around the UW La Crosse campus concerning Palestine and Israel drew more than 100 people with no apparent disturbances. Emily Anderson was an organizer of the rally, where one goal was to show how a smaller college conducts a political event.
And I think that's really our main goal, is trying to make sure that those bigger schools aren't the only ones fighting for the cause, that little smaller schools can also fight for it.
The mostly student crowd walked the campus path that included State Street and areas near the clock tower and the stadium.
Three-way with Shaw. We'll get back to him for more three-ways and, of course, bad news, happy music. Next time we talk to him, it'll be the Monday morning throwback. Take a look at some stuff that we have done in the past. Got sports in just a couple of minutes. Also some Rage Against the Machine. We'll get to that after Godsmack.
Rock Mornings on 95.7 The Rock.
Rage Against the Machine would Testify. Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. You've got the Brewers over the Cubs on Friday, but then they lost the next two. They start a 3-game series against the Royals in Kansas City tonight, 6:40 first pitch. NBA tonight, the Pacers at the Knicks, 6:30 on TNT, game 1 of that series. T-Wolves trying to take 2 from Denver, in Denver.
In Denver, okay.
Yeah, T-Wolves are at the Nuggets, 9 o'clock on TNT for game 2 of that series. Minnesota now up 1-0. NHL tonight, Bruins at Panthers, 7 p.m. on ESPN for game 1 of that second-round series. Nice little overtime win for the Bruins on Saturday night, getting them into the next round.
That's exciting.
Very exciting for yours truly. 150th Kentucky Derby producing one of the most dramatic finishes in its storied history. 3 noses at the wire. Mystic Dan, an 18-1 shot, edging out Sierra Leone by a nose with Forever Young. Another nose back in third place on Saturday.
That was something. Yeah.
And in the closest finish in NASCAR history.
Also that.
One that only became official with a grainy black and white photo at the line showed that Kyle Larson's number 5 was declared the winner by 1,000th of a second.
Huh.
Every bit as close as the Derby a day earlier. Yeah. WWE making the announcement over the weekend that WrestleMania 41 will be held at Allegiant Stadium in Vegas on April 19th and 20th of next year. Triple H, in a statement, said Las Vegas is the sports and entertainment capital of the world. Allegiant Stadium has proven to be even greater with the A-plus venue Las Vegas guaranteed it would be. We look forward to bringing WWE's biggest event, WrestleMania, to Las Vegas and Allegiant Stadium so we can collectively make WrestleMania 41 on April 19th and 20th the most successful WWE event of all time. Be a lot of people there. And Bucks guard Pat Beverly indicating that the video showing him throwing a ball at a spectator was misleading, but later added, quote, "I have to be better." Pat Bev declining to answer a question about the ball throwing incident while speaking to reporters after the game, but he replied to a Twitter post that showed the video by saying, "Not fair at all. Exchange between a fan and our ball club all night. We warned and asked for help all night. Not fair." 6 hours later, Beverly issued another Twitter post saying, "But I have to be better, and I will." So as you mentioned on Friday, it sounds like they were getting into it with this fan all night long, asking for help from security. According to them, they didn't get it. And then there was the ball incident. And look, nobody got hurt. No one's going to sue over it, but yeah. Pat Bev saying, "I got to do better." We'll get to the Monday morning throwback here in a few minutes. Find us online at rockmornings.com. Music from Green Day next.
Rock Mornings with Brian, Gene, and Shaw.
Maybe this will refresh your memory.
Since 2008, Brian, Gene, and Shaw have been your wake-up specialists.
Like old times, huh?
Now it's time to take a look back.
Go way back.
It's the Monday morning throwback. Every Monday morning, throwback.
Taking you all the way back to 2016. 8 years ago, Shaw.
Been a minute.
There was a very young boy by the name of Elliot Heller, who was our Big Bikes kid that year. For those of you that don't know, maybe you're listening in the Eau Claire area, we have a motorcycle ride that we do each and every May called Big Bikes for Little Tykes. And every year we pick one special kid and one special family out of the area that we live in. Usually they have some serious medical challenges, the child does. And so we go on a motorcycle ride, about 120 miles, raise a lot of money. Sort of like Make-A-Wish. We grant the family a wish, vacation, special adaptive play sets.
By the way, the wish is up to them. In some cases, it's predetermined by the organization, but with us, we say what would be something that you guys would like to do.
Right.
Sometimes it's a trip like this year. Our family would like to go to the ocean. Sometimes it's a basketball court in their backyard.
Right, so they can play with their brothers and sisters. That we had an adaptive play set one year. There's all sorts of different stuff. Well, in 2016, we rode for Elliot Heller. And I'm happy to say that here we are 8 years later, and I actually ran into him and his dad. I don't know if you remember this, at another benefit last year, and I couldn't believe it. He's like, yeah, this is Elliot. I'm like, what?
He's tall and
this 7-foot giant teenager is the kid that we rode, the little bald kid we rode for that weighed about 6 pounds? Yeah. So Elliot and his family were actually in the studio back in 2016, and we were, of course, talking to him before the ride, and here's a clip of our interview with Elliot Heller from 2016.
Elliot's in the studio here with his parents. Elliot Heller is our Big Bikes kid for this year. And how you feeling today, Elliot?
Good.
Feeling good? What do you got planned? You going to lunch with mom and dad, or are you just going right to school?
He's going to school.
Going back to school.
Yeah.
Take the day off. It's so nice outside. You can go outside and do a lot of cool stuff.
He's got recess. He'll do that after school. You've only got like 3 weeks left, and you're off for the summer. I mean, it's cakewalk now. I mean, this is it. You're in 3rd grade, Elliot.
Yeah, and you go. Where do you go to school, Elliot?
Southern Bluffs.
Southern Bluffs. Who's your teacher?
Mr. Dutchin.
Mr. Dutchin. You want to say hi to Mr. Dutchin?
Hi, Mr. Dutchin.
Hi, Mr. Dutchin.
There you go.
Elliot Heller from 2016. You can hear our entire interview with he and his family on our website if you want to check that out. The Monday Morning Throwback, though, our kid from 2016 who's all grown up now.
Good for him.
Sporting a mullet. That's what the kids like nowadays, Shaw, the mullets.
It's alpaca, actually.
What?
The puffy ones. Where
the broccoli?
It looks like an alpaca. It's alpaca.
I thought it was called broccoli hair.
Alpaca hair.
They don't call it broccoli?
Mm-mm. You do, but they don't.
Okay. Yeah, broccoli hair. All right.
I'm sure that was interesting if Elliot was listening to hear himself sounding so small because he was little.
He was a little guy. Not so little anymore. But Big Bike's a very important thing that we do here on the station, Shaw, and it's coming up not this weekend, but next weekend, our ride. And you can go to bigbikesforlittletykes.com to find out more. You can also, of course, read more about Elliot from 2016. And looking forward to this coming year's ride. It's going to be a hell of a good time, man. But there's our Monday Morning Throwback. Shaw in the newsroom for a three-way. What else is happening?
A reckless homicide case involving a death by fentanyl is now scheduled for a plea hearing in La Crosse in late June. Rachel Brockway of Holman is accused of giving a mixture of fentanyl and heroin to a male friend who died last year after taking the drugs. Brockway had been scheduled to go on trial, but then a plea hearing was set for on Friday. After a brief hearing on Friday, Judge Scott Horn rescheduled the plea for June 25th. Brockway's defense attorney said he expects the case to be settled without a trial. Mexican authorities say that relatives have positively identified 3 bodies found in a well as those of 2 Australian surfers and 1 American who went missing last weekend. Baja California state prosecutors said relatives had viewed the corpses that were recovered from a remote well about 50 feet deep and recognized them as their loved ones. Thieves apparently killed the 3 who were on a surfing trip to Mexico's Baja Peninsula to steal their truck because they wanted the tires. They then allegedly got rid of the bodies by dumping them in a well near the coast. 3 suspects are now being held in connection with the case, which locals said was solved far more quickly than the disappearances of thousands of Mexicans. Dozens of people took part in a 5K walk near downtown La Crosse yesterday, calling attention to high rates of violence and death among indigenous women in the U.S. The 3rd annual MMIW Run Walk in La Crosse was centered at Burns Park and the local Ho-Chunk office, both on Main Street. Tracy Littlejohn with the Ho-Chunk was one of the event organizers.
Indigenous women are at a much higher risk of being murdered and also being kidnapped for trafficking, prostitution, and other awful things that can happen. And most people don't know about that because many times they're not reported or investigated.
Littlejohn says support for the 5K event from sponsors and local government has grown since the first walk happened in 2022. A weekend spring storm that drenched the San Francisco Bay Area and closed Northern California mountain highways also set a single-day snowfall record in the Sierra Nevada. The wet weather system has mostly moved out of the state, but they warned that roads would remain slick after some 2 feet of snow fell in some areas. The University of California Berkeley Snow Lab says the storm dropped 26.4 inches of snow, making for the snowiest day of the season. Treacherous driving conditions forced the closure of several highways near Lake Tahoe, but drier and warmer conditions are expected throughout the week.
Three-way with Shaw in the newsroom. Bad news, happy music coming up a bit later on. How are we looking?
Well, a furry convention will not be returning to the Hilton or any other hotel in the city of Seattle.
Uh-oh.
Things went bad.
Like fight bad or sex bad?
All of the above. Check.
Oh, my. Oh, my. All right. So there's that. Bad news, happy music coming up just about 8:40. Another highlight from last night's live roast of Tom Brady on Netflix was, of course, when Coach Belichick got up there. People wondering, is he going to show? What's he going to say? Does he have a personality? And to his party, he did okay. He did all right. He had a funny bit there where he threw a flag on Gronk for trying to tell a joke. And also had a whistle. He was whistling at people. And, yeah, it was kind of funny to see a little peek behind the door of how Belichick yells at his players and what was expected of them when they played for him. And
Ron Burgundy, the only member of the media I respect. You know, the fellas invited me up here to lighten up the mood a little bit tonight. A lot of mean things being said about Tom tonight. I wonder why they invited me. Really, Tom, why are all these people so hard on you? Do you miss me? A lot of people connected me with a saying called do your job and telling people to do their job. And Gronk, I've been watching you on Fox NFL Sunday, and I'm begging you, please, stop doing your job. But believe it or not, I've got a lot of nice things to say about Tom, but I'm running out of time here. I see your soccer team, Birmingham City, got knocked down in another tier in the English Football League, so they suck. Not so easy running a team, is it, Tom?
Little zinger there from Darth Hoodie.
Yeah.
Brady's soccer team getting taken down a peg. And
I like the Ron Burgundy part where he was like, people, you thought you had a job because you ran the team, but you clearly you didn't. You have a job because of Tom Brady.
Right.
Because now you're not getting hired and the magic's gone and all of that. It was good.
Tom Brady roasts live on Netflix.
Plus, it's just fun to see Ron Burgundy.
Yeah.
Sweet jacket. Like, really great jacket.
Looks pretty good.
Yep.
Lincoln Park now one step closer. Get in touch with us. Visit rockmornings.com.
Rock Mornings on your rock station.
Lincoln Park one step closer. Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Very nice day throughout the area. And then rain moving in tomorrow and Wednesday, maybe even on Thursday as well.
Yeah, clouds should be later on, it looks like tonight. And then rain developing likely for the morning hours. Thunderstorms possible. On and off, bands of rain, maybe even some thunderstorms.
Got a text from someone who said, thanks for hosting the concert. Seems that this area is starved for rock concerts, but this series is a huge breath of fresh air. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much. Had a good time on Saturday nights. Seeing Seether and Skillet with Fuel in 10 years and Keith Wallen of Breaking Benjamin. There's no shortage of shows coming up in the area, man. We've got Rockfest in July. There's going to be the Big River Rally in August with Jackal and Buck Cherry. We've got, there's shows all over the man. There's Ashley for the Arts, obviously, happening in Arcadia. What's that, Journey and Bret Michaels, I think, right?
Yeah, and a bunch of others. I'm trying to remember. It escapes me.
But yeah, Blink and Rockfest will be here all over your face.
Totally.
If you don't have the lineup or tickets, go to rock-fest.com. You can see the full lineup and schedule and get your tickets and camping while it lasts. At rock-fest.com. It's going to be here before you know it, man, this July.
Also, Old Dominion's a part of that one. The Script.
I don't know what the hell you just said.
Ashley for the Arts.
Are those country bands?
Old Dominion is.
What's the Script?
They had some pop hits a number of years ago.
Okay.
Be good.
The Script?
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think I've ever heard of The Script before.
We'll listen to some stuff on YouTube.
I think I'm good. I think I'm all right. If you need something, you can get in touch with us by visiting rockmornings.com. We've got some Five Finger Death Punch in just a bit. Also, more from Scott Robert Shaw. We'll get to a three-way. And, of course, bad news, happy music, plus the friggin' sports as well.
More of your Rock Mornings coming up in just a bit.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. That is Five Finger Death Punch, Wrong Side of Heaven. Martin Brodeur is 52, Hall of Fame goalie. NHL all-time leader in wins, shutouts, and games played.
As they say in hockey, let's do that hockey.
May 6th, happy birthday.
Martin Brodeur, 52. Chris Shiflett of the Foo Fighters is 53. George Clooney, 63.
I want a car. Chicks dig the car.
This is why Superman works alone.
Clooney, Batman, nipples. Batman's got nipples. Bob Seger, 79.
Just take those old records on the shelf.
Sit and listen to him.
Listen to them by myself.
Sound of Detroit.
Way before Kid Rock or Eminem.
Mm-hmm.
There was Bob Seger. Even before Uncle Ted. Willie Mays, 93 years old today.
Really?
Willie Mays Hayes here. Play like Mays, I run like Hayes. How you doing? How you doing?
Different Willie Mays. The actual Willie Mays. Not Willie Mays Hayes. Reuben the Hurricane Carter, born on this day in 1937, died in 2014. Denzel Washington played him in The Hurricane, and of course Bob Dylan also wrote a song about his life.
Here comes the story of the hurricane.
Story of the Hurricane. Probably heard that one before. May 6th, 1937. 87 years ago today. The Hindenburg disaster occurred in New Jersey as it flew over the Lakehurst Naval Station. Hydrogen-filled German blimp called the Hindenburg crashed and burned, killing 36 people.
All the humanity and all the fans been screaming around it.
Radio announcer on the scene saying, "Oh, the humanity." 70 years ago today, 1954. At a track meet in Oxford, England, medical student Roger Bannister became the first man to break the 4-minute mile.
Huh.
Back then, it was quite the feat.
It's still quite the feat.
"67 years ago today, 1957, the finale, final episode of I Love Lucy aired on this day in 1957. Groundbreaking television show. Another finale aired on this day in 2004. A little more recent. It was on NBC. It ran for 10 years, 236 episodes, and went out with an estimated 51.1 million viewers. Friends.
Oh, yeah.
Final episode on this day in 2004. That's another show I don't think I've ever watched a full episode of.
What?
Not my jam, man. I'm a Seinfeld guy.
Oh, man.
I've seen bits and pieces.
Well, if you ever want to take it all in at once, we have the entire collection on.
I'm sure it's on the streaming
DVD,
service somewhere.
Yeah. No, well, it wasn't, and then they took it off, and so that was a big thing, and then it came in a box set, and
We've got access to gray area streaming, so I think I'll be all right. Also, 2005, 19 years ago today, the House of Wax remake in theaters starring Paris Hilton. Their marketing campaign was genius. It was See Paris Hilton Die. Truth. Commercials. People hated Paris Hilton so much they wanted to watch her die. In a movie, of course. House of Wax. Wife is, speaking of television shows and binging, the wife is binging Sex and the City.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been, because I'm in the same room a
an
lot.
accomplice to that. Yeah.
Yeah, so, boy, it's wild to look back at those shows. I never watched that one either, but just the things that they're doing that are so 90s, you know what I mean? Like, that just don't, yeah, it's wild. A lot of landlines, home phones, voicemails, things like that. Yeah. The technology.
Not as many dating services.
they're just going and hooking up with dudes at bars, and I don't know.
No Tinder? You're not swiping right?
I didn't realize how much nudity was in that show.
Mm-hmm.
A lot. I mean, I've only been in the room for like 2 or 3 episodes, but there's been like a ton of boobs.
Mm-hmm.
Not bad. So there you go. So birthdays and pop culture dates. We'll get to Shaw in just a bit. Some Pearl Jam as well.
Rock Mornings. On air, online, on the app.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Some 3 Days Grace in a couple of minutes. But first, Scott Robert Shaw in the newsroom for one more three-way. Going to be nice throughout the area today with a high of 74
It's gonna
and
be
some
beautiful.
sunshine. Then tell me about the rain the next couple of days. Are we looking at actual showers and thunderstorms, or is that just...
Showers, possibly a storm. Pretty good chance. Decent chance tonight. Better chance tomorrow. Showers and maybe storms before 10 a.m. and then some showers possible after that. So you're looking at up to a half an inch of rain tomorrow. And then things dry out on Tuesday night and still a slight chance on Wednesday.
Yeah, stray shower possible, warm Wednesday, followed by some cooling on Thursday. We're looking at Thursday and Friday dipping back into the low 60s, upper 50s. Today should be gorgeous, though.
Perfect today.
Got to mow that lawn. What's going on?
The state Supreme Court says it will decide whether mobile voting sites are legal without allowing any lower courts to rule first. The Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty, a conservative law firm, sued on behalf of Racine County Republican Party Chairman Ken Brown, alleging that Racine city officials illegally used a voting van to collect absentee ballots that year. A judge ruled in January that state law does not allow mobile voting sites to operate. The Racine city clerk and the Democratic National Committee asked the Supreme Court to review the case without letting any lower appellate courts rule on it first. The justices issued an order Friday indicating they had voted 4-3 to take the case. All 3 conservative justices dissented. Wisconsin's Tammy Baldwin is one of 5 Democrats in the United States Senate whose races for re-election are rated as a toss-up or very close, according to the Democratic Party. A fundraising email from the party quotes the Cook Political Report as identifying 5 senators that are believed to be in close races. Besides Baldwin, the list includes Sherrod Brown, Bob Casey, John Tester, and Jackie Rosen. Now that the La Crosse School District has planned a building referendum for the fall election, the school board is looking at ways to inform voters about the plans. At tonight's La Crosse School Board meeting, members are scheduled to talk about community engagement leading up to the November election. The board intends to ask taxpayers to approve a new school building at the old Hogan School site. Students from Emerson and Spence schools would be moved to that new school. The same referendum also would call for a consolidation of State Road and Hinchin schools. A 5K run walk in La Crosse was one of several events across the U.S. yesterday, calling attention to crimes and violence against indigenous people. From the Arizona State Capitol to a cultural center in Albuquerque and the Kuala boundary in North Carolina, marches, symposiums, art exhibitions, and candlelight vigils were planned for May 5th, the birthday of Hannah Harris, who was just 21 when she was killed on the Northern Cheyenne Indian Reservation in Montana in 2013. The 5K in La Crosse took a circular path near downtown, near the local offices for the Ho-Chunk Nation. Event organizer Tracy Littlejohn says a task force in Wisconsin is trying to improve the investigation of these cases.
There are not numbers kept in the region, in the county, and that's been one of the things that the Wisconsin task force has been trying to accumulate so that we have a better idea of what that looks like in the state of Wisconsin.
One federal prosecutor says it will take a shift in public attitudes to undo a perception that nothing is being done about cases of missing or murdered indigenous people. A road up the bluff in La Crosse will be closed much of this week for repairs. Bliss Road will be closed throughout much of the day, starting today and lasting throughout the week. The city will be doing some stormwater infrastructure work. Bliss Road will be closed from 7 a.m. until 3 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Three-way with Shaw in the newsroom. Bad news, happy music on the way. Got a text from Brandon, wanted to know what movie I was talking about with all the boobies in it. I was actually referencing...
It's not a movie.
referencing Sex and the City, Shaw.
The series, okay.
Yeah, so my wife is binging that while I'm almost done with Seinfeld. And I happened to be in the room for a couple of the episodes the other day when she was watching them, and I never watched the show, so I never realized
I've never seen it either.
How much boobage.
I think that was part of it. It was kind of
risque.
Well, I knew the girls one had a lot of nudity with what's her nuts, but I had no idea that Sex and the City was so naked all the time.
Sex in the City.
But yeah, but I didn't.
Sex.
Obviously, Kim Cattrall
in the city
gets pretty naked in the show. One of the Maybe because I was the one episode that we were watching, they're in like a spa, and they're all steam bathing, so there's a lot of nudity in that one. Top and bottom, Shaw.
Okay.
Yeah. The other episode, the guy was too big, apparently. Like Samantha gave it her best shot, and she's like,
Just
no,
couldn't handle
can
it.
we just be friends? Yeah. I can't believe I'm admitting that I know.
Watching Sex in the City and knowing
I'm not choosing
characters,
to. It's just, yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's such a Samantha thing to say. Borat. Or no, that was Bruno. Yeah. All right. 3 days grace in a couple of minutes. We'll get to the friggin' sports, and bad news, happy music is coming up as well.
Rock Mornings with Brian, Gene, and Shaw.
3 days grace, everything about you. Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. The friggin' sports brought to you by your mental health. Apparently watching sports is good for your mental health.
Oh, I get that.
So if you spent the entire weekend watching hours and hours of coverage of the Kentucky Derby or the NASCAR race or NBA, NHL playoffs, baseball, whatever it is.
It's good for you?
It's good for your mental health. Caitlin Clark, maybe you watch some of her.
So it doesn't matter if you're watching it or you're at it?
A new study in Japan found that watching sports boosts your mental health and generally makes us happier human beings. Researchers scanning people's brains while they watch various sports found it activated the reward circuits in their brain, which are linked to feelings of pleasure and happiness, obviously. Also found that people who regularly watch a lot of sports have more gray matter in those areas, which suggests it might even change your brain structure over time.
Really?
They say that for those seeking to enhance their overall well-being, regularly watching sports can serve as an effective remedy.
Is that also when you have to be in the stands at Little League games and stuff like that? Does that count? Watching 5-year-olds kick soccer balls around everywhere?
I think these people were
make no goals?
Watching it on a television as opposed to in person with a family member playing.
Does beer league softball
in
count
a
if you're
vested
watching
interest.
that?
Yeah. You're just hanging out, having a brewski on the side there.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it probably has a negative effect on your mental health if your teams are terrible. Did they look into that? I mean, if you're a Browns fan.
It's just frustrating all the time.
Or a Jets fan, or, yeah. All those years of futility.
Can't
watching
be good
your
for
team
your
trying to win. Can't be good for your mental health. But apparently watching sports can boost your mental health and generally make you a happier human being. So, she's giving you a hard time.
Do you want me to be sad?
About watching
Are you trying to
football
make me
all
sad?
day on Sunday. Right. Look, I'm doing this for my mental health, okay? This is for both of us. It's not just for me. It's not just because I like watching
the gift
sports.
that gives, honey.
Yeah. My mental health.
Mm-hmm.
The friggin' sports. Got Bush in a couple of minutes. And, of course, bad news, happy music. So stick around for that.
Rock Mornings. Only on 95.7 The Rock.
You're about to enter a beautiful, exciting, wonderful new world.
A cockroach living in your nostril. Now that's just nasty. Add in some haven't pooped for 30 days.
Poop is raining from the ceilings. Poop.
And sprinkle in some hashtag Florida Man for flavor.
Florida man.
Florida man.
Florida man.
Florida man.
Florida man.
Florida man.
Florida man quits his Burger King job, steals all of their chicken nuggets.
It's bad news.
Bad news.
With happy music.
Let's rock.
On a Monday, what do we got?
Well, we begin in Northridge, California, near Los Angeles, where a hazmat team was called to the scene after 2 bodies were found, along with white powder, in what was described as a man-made cave. The scene was found yesterday morning in an area that may be a homeless encampment behind an industrial complex and near the railroad tracks. Firefighters found 2 dead men at the scene inside of a human-dug cave. Because of concerns about the white powder, a hazardous materials team was called in to assist with removing the bodies. Examination of that powder determined it contained portions of fentanyl. They believe that the 2 people likely died of a drug overdose, but a medical examiner will confirm the cause of death.
Yo, that is some wild stuff. Digging their own caves?
Yeah.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Indeed. The mystery of a stolen forklift came to a bizarre conclusion last night after a short foot chase in Alabama. The forklift had been reported stolen. Officers in the area reported they spotted the forklift traveling down the main thoroughfare with one man at the controls drinking a bottle of wine and another man along for the ride.
Sweet berry wine.
Spit it out. But no way, Jose. Am I spitting this stuff out? It tastes like fruit.
So they just walked, came upon it, and then decided to steal it?
Sounds like it. Both men were taken into custody with the help of additional officers and some locals in the area. However, the thieves forgot to put the forklift in park before fleeing, and it backed into a business's fence and smashed it. One man is now facing charges of possessing a stolen vehicle, resisting arrest, and DUI. The second man taken to jail facing charges related to the stolen vehicle as well as resisting arrest. A church service in a Pittsburgh suburb was interrupted yesterday when a man jumped in front of the pastor with a gun in an apparent attempt to shoot him. It happened at Jesus' Dwelling Place Church in Pennsylvania. The church live streams its services, and the live stream video captured the moment that a guy pulled out a gun and aimed it directly at the pastor, Glenn Germany. He said, "I'm thankful to God that I'm still here," because he definitely pulled the trigger. He said he'd never seen the gunman before yesterday. When the man pointed the gun at him, it appeared to jam when he pulled the trigger. Church members quickly jumped into action. One man jumped to tackle the gunman. Eventually, he was able to remove the gun from the man's hands. Police are now investigating. So far, no charges have been filed.
Good. Bad. I'm the guy with the gun.
Yeah, right here in front of your
Ends the
church.
debate right there. The failure of Rainforest 2015 is one for the books and saw the often sex-crazed subculture of furries cast into the public eye. This was meant to be an annual convention designed for and by furries, but the debauchery that ensued left animal-loving organizers banned from ever holding another event in the city of Seattle after the hotel claims that the group defiled their property. The event started to go off the rails when someone purposely loosened a bolt on one of the conference center's toilets, causing it to flood instantly. The floor was soon filled with 2 inches of toilet water.
Yeah.
The first sign that hosts had overestimated the wholesomeness of their guests and were losing control. Things only worsened from there as attendees indulged in drinking and drugs that eventually gave way to destruction. A series of arrests ensued as attendees donned diapers and even went so far as to defecate in a pool. A hot tub was also flooded when somebody shoved towels into the pump, filling it with water.
Did they wake up with a tiger in the bathroom?
Right, exactly. The hotel was left in ruins. They got a bill for more than $100,000 in damages. They have since called off the entire event.
$100,000 in damage?
How many people were attending this furry thing?
I have no idea how many they normally would see attend.
Was it just a small batch of bad people in the furry convention, or was it like the whole entire
$100,000 in damage?
Must be a lot of bad actors there.
Man, oh man.
Here's a warning about those driving Teslas. A woman named Brianna Janelle was sitting in a Chick-fil-A parking lot waiting for her order when her software update took much longer than expected. In a video shared on TikTok, she claimed she was stuck in 103-degree heat after the system's update took 4 minutes. During that time, she said she was trapped in her car. Now, these cars do have a manual door release, which can be used if there's no power, but she chose not to use it for fear she might damage the vehicle. She continued, "My Chick-fil-A order has been done for 30 minutes. She then shared a follow-up video when she finally got out of her car. She claimed she was roasting like a frickin' chicken.
Well, then open the
dripping
door.
sweat. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, open the door, you big dumbass.
Her ultimate takeaway, don't let it update while you're in the car. Schedule it to update its software system at around 2 a.m.
Yeah, same thing with the phone.
Yeah, right?
You don't
Do it in the
update
middle
the
of the
phone
night.
when you're trying to text and call a bunch of people. You wait till you got time for
2
that.
in the morning. Schedule that for 2 in the morning.
A lot of men don't realize how groin pics single women have to deal with when they're online dating.
I do.
Yeah?
I told you, the girls, when I worked for the Chill, many years ago. The young ladies that work for the
Showed you
children,
the picture.
they told me that it was like a handshake, that these guys are just firing off wiener pictures. Like, hey, how's it going? Like it's a weird,
like it's a normal part of their day.
Not every guy. I'm not trying to,
But they had plenty of examples.
They told. I couldn't believe it. I
It was not
like,
uncommon.
Man, I don't know if I've ever sent one to anybody. And like these guys are just doing it like on a
to strangers or
wow. Any day you wake up and it ends in Y, you just start sending wiener pictures.
Well, there's a woman named Becky Holmes who's having some fun with these online trolls. She published a book about romance scams called Keanu Reeves is Not in Love with You. She also likes trolling creepy dudes who send her unsolicited photos of their junk, and screenshots from a recent back and forth are now trending online. She said a guy DM'd her on her birthday a picture of his junk after sticking it through a happy birthday sign.
Oh, geez.
But instead of blocking him, she made him think that he had a serious illness. She sent back a zoomed-in shot of a red mark on his stomach, lied, and said she had a degree in dermatology, and it looked concerning. They had a long back and forth where he said things like, it doesn't even itch. She told him that's even more concerning. She also said it's going to be a really difficult few months for you. He eventually replied back and said he had showed a picture to someone who didn't see anything alarming. The whole exchange happened a while back, but she reposted it after the same guy sent her another unsavory picture of himself. This time, she tried to convince him that he'd contacted the bubonic plague. He was a little more skeptical this time, but said he would look into it just in case.
So being told that you got some kind of deadly disease didn't deter the guy from sending more wiener pictures.
No, sent more, yeah.
Just all about that.
Being a man isn't about the penis.
And maybe
happy birthday.
Maybe this is why they're
That's the best part.
Maybe this is why they're choosing the bear, Shaw. They want to be in the woods with the bear.
Stick in a box. Stick in a card. Happy birthday for
Happy
you.
birthday card.
Look at this. Happy
I'm
birthday.
sorry. I want to be in the woods with the bear. I'm sorry, Mr. Groin Pick guy.
And maybe things were different back in the good old days, but schools these days have zero tolerance for visitors who are acting mysterious, even if they're just joking around. A school district in Ohio went on lockdown when Bigfoot was spotted walking around the campus, running past the classroom windows. Now, the Sasquatch wasn't real, obviously. They later found out it was a parent who was playing a prank on the school. Some elementary kids were outside at the time. School officials are being commended for quickly moving them inside to safety. Their lockdown went off without a hitch, but the stunt still caused panic and disrupted the school day. Now, Bigfoot never got inside the school. The parent was apprehended by a school resource officer, and prosecutors are now reviewing the case. It's not clear if they will face charges.
Oh, come on.
Some people are making light of it, saying that the school overreacted, but others who have young kids say they would not want a masked person creeping around their kid's school, even if they knew it was a parent in a costume.
So it was a parent of one of the kids in the school?
Yep.
And they showed up to prank the kid or the school or the
school,
class?
It sounds like.
Okay. Just move on. Just move on.
There are no abominable snowmen. There are no Sasquatches. There are no big feet.
Yeah,
Nobody in the school knew about it, though?
Doesn't sound like it.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I can understand why you would be concerned and have to take action, but...
Yes.
Freaking out about some guy in a Bigfoot
costume having fun?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, you surprise the kid. You let the administration know. You got to, hey, I'm planning to do this as a prank or a thing.
Do you think they're going to say go ahead?
Well, they're not going to say yes.
Well, it
That's
depends.
why you can't do it.
That's not necessarily true.
What were they doing out there? They were just running around, like around the school?
Yeah, running past the windows, you know.
Okay, so they weren't
looking like a Bigfoot.
Yeah, they weren't banging on the windows
No, I
or
don't think so.
like trying to break into the school
No,
or
never
anything.
got into the school.
All right, then just
Participate in gym. They weren't trying to be in the class.
Weird thing to do, especially to elementary school kids, right? They're pretty young usually. What's the payoff on that?
Well,
the kid comes home and says they saw Bigfoot, and you get to laugh at him and say, "You idiot!
It was me.
It was me."
And then they go, "Why'd you do that, Dad?"
Yeah, I don't. A little bit of an overreaction. Talk about pressing charges. It'd be different if they were trying to get into the school.
Yeah. Just ask next time you want to dress up.
Yeah. Bad news, happy music. Thank you, Shaw.
Yep.
Talk to you tomorrow. Going to get to our daily check-ins after Seether. Great show on Saturday night. It was awesome.
Rock mornings, Monday to Friday, 6 to 9. Call.
Hello?
Email.
I tried emailing you.
Text. So many ways to check in with us. Check. We rely on you guys for traffic updates, requests, and all sorts of other stuff.
Check this out.
Get in touch with us by visiting rockmornings.com. You can find all our contact info there. You can listen to the show live on the website. You can even check out our daily podcast at rockmornings.com. Eric texting in just a moment ago as we were playing Seether Breakdown said, my voice was cached by the time this song was jammed.
Oh, was it really singing?
Best times rocking.
Out loud? Loud and proud?
Brandon texted in and said, what movie were you guys just talking about with all the boobs? I said it wasn't a movie, it was Sex and the City. And again, it was, I don't know, 2 episodes I think I watched, 2 or 3, something like that. And in one of them, they were all at a health spa. And there was a steam room, so there was a lot of nudity in there. And then Kim Cattrall's character got like a bad tip from someone there that the massage therapist will like diddle you for extra cash or something like that. So she went in and got
it worth your time, worth your effort.
So she went to get a massage and then she initiated contact and then found out and then got kicked out of the spa. Yeah.
It's not that kind of a spa.
Yeah. Bill, the FedEx guy, texted in and said you forgot Flo Rida. I did not forget Flo Rida. I did not see Flo Rida. I went to the show, but Flo Rida didn't start until way past my bedtime, and
so
I didn't make it that far. So, yeah. I saw an hour of a DJ. I saw about 20 minutes of Waka Flocka, and then I said I've had enough, and I dipped.
Called it a night.
Yep. Similar to the whole Jamie Lee Curtis.
Can't start at 10:30 for you, is that what you're saying?
Well, it's just, look, I get it. My hours are way different than most people's.
Yes.
But even on a Friday after I've taken a nap in the middle of the afternoon, I don't want to be out at 10:30 at night, especially not for Flo Rida.
Well, that was for your wife mostly.
I can hear his songs on the radio. I'm fine. I can go pick up a CD or stream them on YouTube or whatever. But I'm good. Being out at 10:30 at night on a Friday night, it's not my jam. I tell you what, though, I felt there were 2 things about that show that were great. Number one, no one knew who I was. You go to shows like Saturday night, Seether and Skillet, you're walking around, everybody knows who I am. Which is great. It's fine. It's wonderful. Mm-hmm. But it's also difficult to, you got to kind of ignore people, right? I can't really stop and chit-chat with everybody. I got a lot of stuff going on. But this show on Friday night with Flo Rida, with all these kids that were there, nobody knew who I was. I just walked around anonymously. Perfect. It was great. Ran into a couple people that we knew.
Awesome.
Had a nice little chit-chat with them, but that was it. The other thing is, man, the people watching was excellent.
I bet.
Top notch.
On point.
And apparently, dumpy mom jeans and halter tops are the look that girls do nowadays. Is that, am I correct? Mm. Is your daughter borrowing your dumpy old mom jeans?
No, okay. They are not.
Because that's I saw so much of that on Friday night.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's either that or it's like the Lululemons or whatever, the pants, leggings. The tight pants.
Leggings.
But yeah, there was a lot of 80s style mom jeans.
Right.
With a halter top and the belly and everything's exposed. Mm-hmm. But then the most dumpiest of jeans. No form fitting.
Yeah.
Interesting. We did some serious people watching on Friday night. It was, Thanks for all the correspondence. Good to hear from you guys. Have a great rest of your Monday. We'll talk to you tomorrow.